pardon me, that you guys are here. Um, I want to say first and foremost, it's such a blessing that I have wonderful people like you that support me and that are here to allow me to teach this free class to you today. Um, I have seen so much chaos in the world lately, and I've seen how everybody is so struggling with what is going on and the economy and the wars. And I'm personally struggling. And I thought, well, you know what? If I'm struggling, then others must be struggling too. And that um, was a really profound moment because when we are struggling, we feel like we're the only one that's living in these struggles. And so, one, I think it brings me some comfort to know I'm not the only one. And two, if we can come together with pure loving intentions in our hearts, that we might be able to manifest our own miracles. And so I'm going to just draw a card. And you guys know I don't use a lot of cards, but I found this year a lot of solace and personal healing in this deck. I'm not an expert with decks. You guys know I usually don't use tools like this. However, this deck has been supportive of me and my journey. And so this is called the Sacred Medicine Deck by Asha Frost, who's an Indigenous woman. And her artwork was also done by another Indigenous woman, Steph Littlebird. So it's a beautiful deck. And we're just going to draw a card to set our intentions today. And I think this is our card. And again, like I said, I'm not an expert in card readings. I don't really do them. But this is for us. I think it's a good card. So this is the Sage. And it says cleanse. And I will tell you what my interpretation of this is, and then I'll read the interpretation from the book. Because again, I'm not an expert in this deck. I just used this when I was feeling really overwhelmed this year. So for me, when I think about the Sage deck, and I think about miracles and gratitude and the things that have happened in my life this year, I think about that I am sometimes sitting around saying, oh, I don't have what I need. Oh, I need a miracle. Oh, how many of you guys have done this? I just need to win the lottery, and that will solve everything, right? And I feel like this cleanse is a call to look around and see all the things that we're holding on to that we need to cleanse and that we need to release, because if I look objectively around my home, I have a roof over my head. I have food in my fridge. I have, a car to drive, right? And that's a beautiful thing, right? And so when we think about cleansing, think about releasing our attachment to the things that we need and the things that we have. I'm going to read what the healing affirmation is of this card. And it says, as I clear out the old, I return to balance and optimal well-being. Sage moves its medicine into your body, heart, and soul. It is time for clearing, and a sacred sage is here to assist you, illuminating the areas that need to be seen and acknowledged. Cleansing our energy is something that needs to be done often. If you notice yourself feeling heavy or dense with emotion or discomfort, allow this medicine to clear you so that it can be transformed. That resonates. I don't know about you guys, but it certainly resonates with me. You are asked to hold this medicine with deep reverence, as it has been appropriated by many who treat it as a prop. It comes forward as a gift for you today, as a reminder of your dedication, of all that is sacred. The sage stick asks you to honor your lineages and the lineages that this particular medicine is sourced from. Lighting sage is much more than a cleanse. It is a ceremony of alignment. Your whole self comes alive. and returns to vitality and light. This medicine loves you deeply and asks you to hold all your sacred practices with reverence. I think that that's really beautiful. And, that one phrase, if you've noticed yourself feeling heavy or dense with emotion or discomfort, allow this medicine to clear so that it may be transformed. And, I feel like I live a privileged life. I have so much that others do not. And I know when things go wrong in my life, well, they feel like they're going wrong. One of my personal practices that I do is that I start giving. I start giving of my time, like with calls like this. I start giving of my things and I start clearing things out of my house and donating them. I start supporting friends because it gives me evidence of blessings and it gives me evidence of things that I have when I feel like I do not have things. And you guys know that I come from a Christian background. And so, obviously some of my perspective is a Christian perspective. But now that I've gone through this spiritual journey, for me, I have a more of an omnitheist perspective, finding truth in all places and in all things. And so I hope that even if you are not Christian and you're joining me today, that you might find the same omnis truth that I do in finding truth in all things. And so I will quote a couple scriptures and give perspective with these. In Matthew 16:1-4, it asks, who asked for a sign? Who asked for a miracle? Those whose hearts are furthest from him, unbelieving hecklers and critics, the people who cared nothing for Jesus. So occasionally they became objects of his scathing and his denunciations. He calls them hypocrites for asking for a sign. And, I know personally for me, I experience this, and I'm obviously not anywhere close to Jesus. Don't get me wrong with this. But I experience this in my daily life where people are always like, oh, prove your gifts to me. Show me you're a medical intuitive. Prove you can actually do these things. Show me what you actually got, right? And then, I myself call out to God and the universe, show me a miracle. Give me a miracle. And I wait for the miracles that I think that I need, the expected miracles, that lottery win, the miracle of having Christmas presents show up at my front doorstep for the whole family, or someone magically paying off my car, or things like that, right? And I I miss one, the miracles that have happened in my life, but two, I also miss that I am the miracle, that our faith um, is where the miracles come from. As is said, those who have faith that is as small as a mustard seed, and if you say in a mustard seed, they're tiny, that that faith can move mountains. Yet, I don't know that even I believe we can move mountains, even though when Christ ascended, and this is the one thing that people miss, he said, of these things I do, you can do and more. And he was here, whether you believe he was a god or a human or a great master healer and teacher, to teach us one simple truth, and that was that everything he did, you can do. He was teaching his disciples, come follow me, come walk on the water. Let me show you how to heal people. Let me show you how to be a heart-centered person and call in your own miracles. And everybody missed that. Everybody missed that. And they run around going, well, you must be like Jesus and accept Jesus in your heart, and then you'll be saved. Jesus never said anything like that, right? Jesus didn't like religion himself. He was against organized religions, right? Um, he wanted people to be empowered to call in the healing and the miracles themselves. right? And so miracles are not always what we think they are. They're not always that winning lottery ticket or, the person that leaves presents at the front doorstep or, you know, and I know you guys may have dreamed of this one too, driving down the road and finding a random sack of money, right? And I know we've all heard the story of the man in the flood who was praying for a miracle, and God sent someone with a boat, and God sent someone with a helicopter, and God sent all these people to this man. And then he died because he told them all no, that God was going to bring him a miracle and save him. And then God was like, "What are you talking about? I sent a lot of people to help you." And this year um, has been personally very hard for me. And you guys know how hard it has been for me. And I remember crying out to God and saying, "God, please, I can't handle anymore. God, please do not send me anymore. I can't do this. It's more than I can bear. Please stop." And then I would get another thing and another and another. And this year started out with that TIA that I had, the transient ischemic attack, the mini stroke. And then my son was shot. And that was, I thought for sure there's no way that God would send another challenge my way. There's no way. There's literally no way, because I can't handle anymore. I cannot handle anymore. And then one of my sons got in a minor car accident and he was okay. But I remember going, "Oh God, please no more." Even something small was too much for me. Um, and then, one of my other sons, my 15-year-old, got diagnosed with high blood pressure. And I'm like, "Surely God, there can't be any more." Um, and, my husband blew out his knee. And then my dad needed bypass surgery. And it just kept coming. My other son had a concussion. And then recently, my son in the Army got hit with that big tornado in Tennessee. And I was like, "Good Lord, what else?" And then I was in the hospital for 4 days, and it kept snowballing and snowballing. And I am so glad he's okay too. And, I remember going to my friend and being like, I remember the breaking point for me was my son got a concussion in football, the one with high blood pressure. And they found a cyst in his brain. And I remember calling her and being like, "Well, that's it." I think I even texted her. I said, "I'm fucking done. I cannot handle another thing. This is too much for me. I can't do this anymore." And I remember feeling like I was just going to lose what little sanity I had left. And some days I still feel like that a little bit. Let's not lie. And somewhere in the conversation with her, something kind of clicked with me that I had missed all the miracles. That while my son had a cyst in his brain, it was a congenital cyst that had been there for his whole life. And that it wasn't something that was actually that horrible. It was just there. It was just hanging out. That we were lucky to find my son's blood pressure issues before he was older and it damaged his heart. That we were blessed when my dad had heart surgery and the clips that they put on his heart broke open and he was bleeding into his chest, and the doctor that was normally there only a few minutes after surgery and then left, stayed to do paperwork and was there to rush my dad back into surgery so quickly that my dad was okay. That when my husband needed a knee brace, the Spirit Fluent community rallied around me and helped me raise enough money to pay for his knee brace. That when my son was shot, the EMS was literally like 2 minutes down the road, and that the doctors that specialize in gunshot wounds happened to be on staff. that the bullets, even though they dissected every artery in his neck, didn't damage his spinal cord, and that he was able to survive what every doctor in that hospital said they'd never seen someone survive before. That while I had a TIA, it wasn't a full-on stroke. And that I was lucky enough to get a chance to try to heal my body, right? And I started noticing that I indeed had miracles, that I was blessed with many miracles this year. And they weren't the miracles that I maybe wanted, and they weren't the miracles that I was expecting, but they were nonetheless miracles. And the one thing that was consistent with all of these miracles, besides that God just must love me, I don't know, is that I had faith that everything would be okay, that I believed everything would be okay. When my son was shot, everyone freaked out. Everyone screaming and crying, and I was strangely calm, because I had this feeling in my heart that I knew he would be okay. And there was nothing, no proof that he would be okay. It took us hours to even find out what hospital he was at. And we had nothing that would lead us to believe he would be okay, except for something in my heart said that. And I never Googled his injuries. I never listened to the doctors. I held on to that belief that everything would be okay. Everything would be okay. And he was okay. And every time someone talked to me, I said, he'll be fine. It'll be rough, but he'll be fine. He'll be fine. Right? When my husband needed his knee brace, I remember him going, he goes, this knee brace is like over $500. He's like, there's no way we can afford this. And he goes, I'll just do without it. And I said, you can't. The doctor said your knee is bone on bone. And he technically needs a knee replacement, but the doctors they won't do it. He says that he's too young. And so the knee brace was literally all he had to help him with that pain. And so I had a whole community of people that donated, and sometimes it was just a couple dollars, but we ended up with enough money to get his knee brace for him so that he wasn't in so much pain. And that was a blessing and a miracle, right? When my son got in his car accident, it was a blessing and a miracle that it wasn't worse, that it was just a small concussion and a little scrape, right? And, miracle after miracle after miracle. But this consistent belief that things would work out and that things would be okay. And I trusted and had faith in my heart that that would happen. And so I had what would feel impossible to many of us, which is that little tiny grain of faith, right? That little belief, whether you call it faith or hope or trust in our hearts, that says everything will be okay. And today I had somebody send a hateful message through my website. And they said, you deserved that stroke you got. That's karma for you. And they called me a scammer. And it was actually interestingly not to do with anything to do with Spirit Fluent. It had to do with an old failed business deal where, and I've talked about this before, where when I had my manufacturing company up and running, I tried to find a new manufacturing partner to help produce product. And they ended up taking every penny I gave them and never gave me product for it. And so it actually was the catalyst for kind of undoing my business. And we never fully recovered from it. And I was at first like just heartbroken, and I was just like, gosh, you know, and then I started to be like, wow, I feel so horrible for that person, and I can imagine how bad they felt. And I wish that there was something I could do to rectify that situation, but at this point, there's really not. And, you know, I just sat and I just started to send them love. And I just surrounded them with loving, healing energy. I asked their soul for forgiveness, and I sent them so much love. And, you know, as you go through looking for your miracles, looking for life to get better, there's always going to be someone that's going to try to shit on you like that. That they're going to be, you're not deserving of your miracles. There's no such thing as miracles. You brought this karma on yourself. I remember my mother telling me when I was a teen mom and I was begging her for help because I didn't know what I was doing. And she said, "You made your bed, now lie in it." And she left me to struggle with a newborn baby and try to figure out how to be a mom all by myself. And that hurt like hell. And there's always going to be people that are going to try to make you feel like all the quote unquote bad things in life are your karma, that you deserved them. And I don't know that that's true. I don't think anyone deserves something horrible happening. I think sometimes the bad things that happen are, I should say bad in quotes, because everything is about this perspective, right? When I look at my son getting shot, the first reaction is, that is really fucking bad. That's really fucking horrible. And nobody should deserve that. And that's true. Nobody should. However, my son was also dealing with an alcohol addiction at the time. And getting shot helped him get clean and sober. It helped him become a better father. It helped him get closer to God. And so getting shot was a really fucking bad thing. But it also had a lot of beautiful things that came through it. And so having this faith combined with the perspective of exactly, Lorena, blessings in disguises, looking at the miracles, is a powerful, powerful perspective. And I've really struggled with doing this year, because when stress comes at you, it's sometimes really hard to get ourselves out of it, right? Yes, getting there can be so painful. It's so hard to get us out. When we're in that muck, we're in that mud, it's hard to get it off, right? It's hard to feel better. It's hard to see the light at the end of the tunnel, right? When we look at bank accounts with negative balances and, you know, trees, Christmas trees with no presents under them, and late bills and sick family and health issues, it's really fucking hard to believe in miracles. There is one miracle that I believed in, and I was able to heal myself. And I want to talk to you about that. And then I want to do maybe some meditation and teach you guys some things that maybe you can start trying yourself, so that you can start not only seeing your miracles, but manifesting your own miracles. And that maybe if we start manifesting miracles together and we start raising our vibrations and our energy and the way we're feeling in the world, we can help other people too. And so many of you may already know this. Some of you guys are my OG followers, right? And you guys know that about 4 years ago, I was diagnosed with heart failure, beginning stages of heart failure. You know, not horrible, but it was getting there. And I had an enlarged heart on the right side and a heart murmur on the left. And it was said that the damage was done from when I had blood poisoning. And that was really hard to hear, right? And they said that my injection fraction, which is how hard your heart beats, was about 40%. And normal range is needing to be above 50, right? So it was starting to not work right. But I have a firm belief that everything can be healed. Everything. That we have the power within us to heal ourselves, that we have the power within us to heal others. Like Christ said, of these things I do, you can do and more. Right? And so we have these beautiful powers and gifts within us. And I held this belief in me, I'm going to heal my heart. I'm going to heal my heart. Now, I will pause and say, I had a contrary belief about my weight loss. I believed, and I am still working on releasing the belief that losing weight is impossible for me. I'm working on that. But back to my heart. I believed I could heal it. I envisioned light, beautiful blue light and sparkles going into my heart. I envisioned my heart healing. I talked to my heart and I said, Art, open up. Heart, release the pain that you're holding on to. Hey, heart, tell the cells to do what they are originally intended to do. Tell the cells to go back to where they belong. Tell my heart to go back to the shape that it belongs in. Tell my heart to restore, rebalance, to heal back to the way I was when I was a teenager. And I said these things. And recently, this is, I think, now don't quote me on dates because my memory is horrible. It's either beginning of November, end of October, somewhere around there. I ended up in the hospital for 4 days. I started having what felt like a heart attack. And my husband, of course, was like, we're going to the hospital. We're going now. And I was like, okie dokie, let's go. Let's get there. And we got to the hospital. And, I had some abnormal EKGs. I was having AFib on my Apple Watch. And they're like, we need to keep you. Just run some tests, see what's going on. And I really started sending lots of love and beliefs to my heart. You are healing. You are strong. You are releasing the stress. You're releasing the fear, the anxiety. You beat normally. You beat the way you're intended to beat. And you release all of that stress from you. Right? And I focused on healing. Now, I'm not going to lie. I do take herbs and supplements too. And I kind of feel like those helped also. One of my favorite ones is cayenne pepper. And yes, it burns going in and it burns going out. But I have a strong belief that that's very useful for healing. And so they ran a bunch of tests. And in one of the tests, I actually had a huge reaction and almost thought I was dying. I don't know. I didn't die, but it was a little scary. They ran all these tests. And then the next day they came to me and they go, we couldn't find anything wrong with you. And I was like, well, what about the enlarged heart and the murmur? And they go, that's not there. And I'm like, are you sure? They're like, yeah, we've run like every test in the book on you. That's not there. And I said, well, what about the AFib? They go, we've had you on a heart monitor for 4 days. We can't find it. There's nothing here. And they sent me home. And I didn't believe them. I came home to my husband. I told him, and he goes, huh? I said, yeah, they said I had a heart of a 20-year-old, that my injection fraction was 80%. And he goes, because, he was in medical school, and he goes, that's not possible. Nobody's heart gets better like that. And I said, well, mine did. And I go, but I don't know if I fully believe them. So I went to my cardiologist, and he ran some more tests, kind of duplicated some of the tests at the hospital. And he said the same thing. I wore a heart monitor for a week, did all these things. He goes, I can't find anything. And he goes, I know you had a murmur. I know you had a murmur. It's in your chart. It's there. It was in your first echocardiogram when you came to our office. But it's not here anymore. And he goes, I'm just going to write spontaneous remission. He goes, now we need to take care of your vascular health in your legs and your high blood pressure. And I'm like, I know. And I walked out of the hospital or the doctor's office, and I called my husband and I said, doctor said the same thing. He said, everything's fine. Nothing's wrong with me. That my heart's beating perfectly. And I was shocked, and he was shocked. And my friend who's a doctor, I called her and she was shocked. And my dad, who's a doctor, was shocked. And we were all shocked together because we had forgotten that we have the power to heal ourselves. We had forgotten that faith is that pure belief that this not this begging, please God heal me, please universe heal me, please send me a winning lottery ticket and a rescuer. But it was like, no, I am going to heal. This will resolve itself. I know it will. And I would believe nothing but that. And I would believe no one who told me anything but that. And everyone who said it was impossible, I said, well, maybe you believe that, but I don't. And so I'm sitting here and I'm still a little bit in disbelief. And I still don't know why. But I do know that those kind of miracles we can create. And I've created small miracles like that. I've created little bigger ones where I remember, well, I don't know. It's funny. I feel like that's a small miracle. Now I'm going to tell you what I feel like is a big miracle because I think I have some money blocks I'm still working on. But this is funny. Listen to this because I just realized how silly this is for me to call this a bigger miracle. Last year, my son needed some football cleats. And maybe it was the year before last. Never quote me on time because I can never remember time very well. But he needed football cleats, and we just did not have the money for them. And of course, my son has Flintstone feet, which means like it's really hard to find him the proper cleats to begin with. And my husband was like, well, I'm going to go sell my kayak so we can get him his cleats. And of course, I love that my husband was going to do that. But I was also like, his kayak is like his respite, his one activity that like helps him maintain the stress of life. And I said, don't do that just yet. Let me see if I can do something about this. And so I just started saying, thank you, universe. Thank you, God, for the giving my son the cleats. Thank you for my clients that bring me the money to buy my son cleats. Thank you for the blessings of my business and the support that my clients give me so that we can afford these things. And I just went to bed with gratitude and thanks and the belief in my heart. And this is the thing, I believed it, that we would have the money that we needed for his shoes. And the next morning, I had 2 new clients, and that was not only enough money for cleats, but it was enough money to go get groceries. And I remember I even splurged a little and got myself a green juice. And I thought that the world had smiled upon me that day. And I was like, this is so amazing. I'm so lucky. And you know, it's just funny that I'm like, okay, I believe this is a bigger miracle because I think, you know, we all have our blocks, right? And to me, healing health stuff is like, push, anybody can do that. That's so easy. And then I go, oh, I got some poverty mindset and some money blocks because I'm like, ooh, that's a little harder, right? And even harder still is my belief that my body won't release the weight, right? So we all have these things that trip us up. And some things come to some easier than others, right? But if we stay in our misery, if we stay in our stress, nothing good comes from that. Remember, there's no emotion that is truly good or bad because we're spiritual beings on human experiences. And so all experiences are experiences, right? It's just the emotions that we have with them and how we transmute those experiences, right? And so the first step is believing without a doubt. and understanding without a doubt that you will have or receive exactly what you need, right? Without a doubt, this is happening. Without a doubt, things are getting better, right? It's that unwavering belief. And the second step is the gratitude, right? I am absolutely grateful for something that never even happened yet, right? Because past, present, future is all happening at once. I am grateful for a miracle that has already happened, even if it hasn't happened yet, right? And I think the last thing is if things don't happen as expected, not sitting there and saying, well, I'm not worthy of miracles, right? And, we all pray for miracles. We all pray for family to heal and things to get better. And when they don't, we get angry at God and the universe. Don't let those things happen to you. Let's see. Lorena says, got fired last year and was devastated. However, I had faith I would find something else. And 3 weeks later, after nonstop praying, a higher paying job fell in your lap. That's beautiful. And this is a great thing to remember too. Sometimes when bad things happen, we're like, oh no, this is so horrible. I can't believe this happened. And then something even better comes from it, right? And I remember when my ex, I found out he cheated on me with my best friend and got her pregnant. That was fun. And I remember praying to God that God would make him be a better husband, that God would make him be the husband that I needed, wanted, and deserved. And he would stop cheating on me, and he'd stop drinking. And I will say he never stopped doing any of those things. Even after I broke up with him, he was still the same person. He's still an alcoholic. But what God did is said, God knew, the universe knew, this man will never be what I need him to be. So he gave me my current husband instead. Right? And so remember, there's this old country song that says, I thank God for unanswered prayers. While answered prayers are beautiful and wonderful, sometimes the unanswered ones are beautiful and wonderful too, even if they don't feel like it at the time. Leanna says, sorry, I'm getting old and moldy, guys. I'm trying to read all these things. I was just diagnosed with a second autoimmune disorder, and I can't help think that it's from stress and trapped trauma. You hate being negative, but sometimes you're in a loop of depression and it sucks. That's why I knew I had to be here tonight. I needed to hear this. Thank you. I'm with you. I get in those loops too. I do, and you guys know I have autoimmune disorders. And I actually watched a video of a doctor today say that 80% of autoimmune disorders occur in women. 80%. That's a fuck ton of autoimmune disorders. Fuck ton. That's not a little number, right? But when we look at the spiritual connections to autoimmune disorders, let's look at adrenal insufficiency, because that's one I personally deal with. It's a fight or flight. That's a person who's constantly stressed, running around, trying to fix everything for everyone, right? That's the person that's running in fear from the childhood trauma, the emotional trauma, sometimes the generational, often, I should say, the generational trauma. Fight or flight, adrenal insufficiency, 9 times out of 10 when I'm working with a client, it's an inherited thing. Totally inherited, right? It comes from our ancestors who lived through horrible wars and traumatic times. We think about thyroid and goiter and the autoimmune stuff that attacks our thyroid. It's emotions of being scared to say what we really feel and live our life the way we want to. Always hiding and trying to please people, especially your family. It's a fear of being abused or criticized or rejected for your choices. And then we shut ourselves down from our creative and manifestation powers, because the throat chakra is not just voice, it's where we hold our fears and our ability to manifest. Because as we speak, we create. It's the emotions of settling, just settling for whatever. Okay, that's fine, even if it's not really what we want. How many women do we know that do that? A lot of them. And how many women do we know that end up with thyroid-related autoimmune conditions? A whole hell of a lot, right? And so, I hit the nail on the head. You deal with digestive and trapped emotions, people pleasing, yeah. Um, and so ask your body to tell you what's going on with your autoimmune condition. What do you need to heal? What do you need to release? Right? But also have the belief that a miracle of healing is coming to you, that your body can miraculously heal. Right? I've watched and looked at so many studies, and there's so many research studies on PubMed. If you ever want to get your mind blown, just go to PubMed, which is kind of a repository for scientific research, and throw in the words Reiki or energy healing or emotional healing, and read some of these studies that come up. There are studies that have literally proven that Reiki and energy healing can shift and heal these things, right? And if Reiki and energy healing can shift and heal that stuff, then you can sure as hell do it yourself, right? Because it's really the power of belief, right? I believe that I am capable of miracles. I believe that I can call in my own miracles. I believe I can unlock the power that Christ tried to teach us about, that we had powers, right? That we had abilities, right? And um, and I found the scripture. I was kind of Googling while we were talking, because I was like, I need to find the scripture to tell you. Even if you're not Christian, I'm sorry, you just have to deal with gospel with Stacy for a minute. It's in John 14:12. And he says, I tell you this timeless truth. The person who follows me in faith, believing in me, will do the same mighty miracles that I do, and even greater miracles than these, because I go to be with my Father. Right? And exactly, I believe, therefore I am. I think, therefore I am. And the power of belief is a beautiful power, the power of faith. And it's not a one-time faith, it's a big long-term faith, right? It's a big faith. Sometimes those faiths feel impossible. And so I'm going to bring us into a meditation, because I want you guys to meditate on believing in the miracle that you want to call in. And I want you to feel your miracle. And then I want you to know what it feels like, so you can go away and hold on to that and call it in. And instead of getting sucked down into the darkness and the depression and the woe is me and the things will never change, that you can say, I believe this is going to happen for me. I know this is going to happen for me, and allow it to take place. All right, so if you haven't meditated with me before, we start with deep breath through the nose, filling up your lungs, and we pause. This pause is important because it resets our nervous system. And then we exhale through the mouth. And this breath cycle helps reset and balance our nervous system. If you ever feel like you cannot get through the day, like things are so hard, remember this one thing. All you need to do is breathe and just stop and breathe and take 3 deep breaths. And if it still is feeling hard, tell yourself, I can get from one breath to the next. And just breathe and keep breathing. And so let's start. So we're going to let me just see about getting some music on for us. I think we need some music. So let's see really quick if I can find some meditation music for us. Sorry. Welcome to Stacy's stuff. She's a little ill prepared today. But that's okay. That is okay. There we go. I'm going to find some music for us. We're going to find this. I don't know. This has got some brainwave vibrational energy with it, but it says it's for serenity. So let's go with it. Like they say in Seinfeld, serenity now. All right, so let's start with our deep breathing. Deep breathe through the nose. And then pause. And then exhale. Deep breathe in through the nose. Pause. And exhale. Deep breathe in through the nose. Pause and exhale. As you continue with your breath, I want you to just become one with your body, with your mind, with your heart, with your soul. I want you to speak to your body. I want you to tell your body one simple truth that you know is true. Whether it's as simple as the color of your hair, or as simple as the color of the carpet in your house, just speak one truth that you know is true. And I want you to feel what truth feels like in your body. I want you to feel what it feels like to know an absolute truth. Feel that emotion. Hold on to the absolute feeling of truth. It is because it is. It's neither good nor bad. It just is. And now you know in your heart the feeling of absolute truth. And I want you to hold on to that feeling. And I want you to take that feeling a little deeper. And breathe in to the absolute truth. The absolute truth is that you are a beautiful spiritual being. That you were born of love and created through love, of light, of energy. The absolute truth is that you are here on a spiritual journey. That we walk a path where we are born, where we live, and then eventually we may die. But in the middle of that path, there's a beautiful journey, a journey of understanding, of living, of finding that seed of greatness, that power of faith and hope and belief in our spiritual beings to create a reality in our physical world, a beautiful reality that is so powerful that we are able to trust that that absolute truth that we felt is the same energy, the same knowing that we can call in those miracles. This is the power and the feeling of faith. It is a knowing. And I want you to speak to your body, mind, and soul and ask the emotions of faith to come forward to you, for the memories of faith to be reawoken in your body, the memories of trust and truth, the ability to believe in magic and miracles because they are accessible to all of us. Ask your body to release what the world has told you. Release the disbelief. Release the hopelessness. Release the belief that miracles are for other people. Release the belief that miracles don't happen. Release any belief that is blocking you from accepting, receiving, and loving your miracles. Because for you, miracles are possible. And all things are possible because you know the absolute truth. And the truth is, you are the creator of your own reality. You have the power to call in your miracles, to heal your body, mind, and soul, to heal the world around you, to heal others, to receive and to have all of your needs met in this world, to understand the truth that lies within us, that we all carry a seed of greatness, the seed of God, creator of the universe, of absolute magic and wonderment and hope and faith. And so we ask that our bodies activate the faith within us, activate the trust, activate and reactivate the ability to call in healing and miracles and hope. We ask our body to release the stress of life, to allow it to fall away from our body, to be absorbed by the Mother Earth as she hugs and heals our body, our mind, our souls, like a loving, nurturing mother. She helps us release all the things that are blocking us from the truth. And the truth is that we are all divine spiritual beings, that we all have abilities of intuition, of manifestation, of healing, that we simply need to call them in, that we simply need to trust, that we simply need to just believe. And not just that we need to, that we have permission to, that you are allowed to access these beautiful abilities that are within you, that you are allowed to heal, that you have this beautiful innate ability within you. Take a deep breath in. Ask your body to awaken your miracles within you. Awaken your manifestation. Awaken your healing. Awaken your trust. Awaken your faith and hope. And ask that those lights burn so bright that they illuminate any darkness that you have been feeling. And as they illuminate the darkness, allow that light within you to grow. Allow it to grow, grow, grow as it pushes away the darkness, as it pushes away the stress, as it pushes away all the things that have made you believe something that was not true. And now that you know the truth, which is that you are capable of calling in miracles, we ask that all that heaviness and darkness releases, that the fear fades away, and that our true powers restore to us. Release the fear, release the hesitation, release the second doubts, the self-loathing, the second guessing, the overthinking. Release all of that within you now. Release, release, and breathe. Take a deep breath in. Tell our body, mind, and soul, thank you. Thank you for the healing that we have received tonight. Thank you for the healing we will receive in the future. Thank you for the healing that we have sent to the past to restore and rebalance our body, heart, minds, and soul. We are truly grateful. Thank you to God, Creator of the universe, to Mother Earth, to Christ and all the ancient holy masters, the ancestors who have supported us in our healing today. We are so grateful. We say thank you. Amen. Namaste. Take a deep breath. And when you are ready, come back in. Find your center. Find your balance. Find your peace of mind. Allow yourself to restore back to the room. To understand that you have now awakened that seed of greatness that lies within you. That you are capable of miracles. You are deserving of miracles. That the stress of life is something that can be easily transmuted and released. And I hope that you all have found healing within this class, that I might have shared something with you that has helped today. I want to extend my gratitude to you for being here with me and allowing me to share this moment in time with you, to share some of the knowledge that Spirit shares with me, and to remember that the divine truth lies within you, that you are capable of knowing your truth and the truth of the world and the universe, that you don't need someone like me to heal you or to guide you, that you are able to talk to God, Creator of the universe, Mother Earth, to call in your own intuition and your own healing to yourself, and that you have beautiful, wonderful abilities within you. I am so grateful to all of you. I appreciate all of you. I am wishing every single one of you the most beautiful and wonderful, happy holidays, no matter what you celebrate, whether, I think Hanukkah's over, but Hanukkah, Christmas, Kwanzaa, I don't know all the holidays for the winter season, but whatever you celebrate, just know that I am celebrating with you, and that I'm sending you love and healing and peace within your hearts. And I appreciate each and every one of you so much, for everything that you do for me. And there was a question that someone was asking about recordings. I do plan on putting recordings up. We are working on building out a new platform on Mighty Networks. And so the majority of everything will be moving to Mighty Networks next year. I don't have an exact date right now. I have a wonderful lady that I hired who's helping me take care of that. And it will be a beautiful thing, because eventually we will be able to do what we originally wanted to do, which is to have our own app. And I'm excited about that. And we will have hopefully a more accessible platform for everyone, which I'm super, super excited about. So keep an eye on your emails, because I am going to be sending out an email probably around the end of the week asking for beta testers. And if you feel like that's within your scope and you want to help beta test the new program site and to help me kind of work out the kinks before we launch it live, I would love for you guys to join, because those beta testers will be getting a free membership, a free lifetime membership for their help, as my gratitude. So again, thank you, everyone, because even I was having a hard day today, and you kept me going today. I want you to know that. You guys kept me going when I felt like I couldn't go anymore. When I begged my husband to call in sick from work and just cuddle me today, which he didn't, and I'm glad he didn't, but I was like, no, my spiritual humans need me, and I need to be here for you guys. And so thank you, everybody, for being here. Sending you so much love and gratitude. And thank you for everything that you have given me, because you have given me the best gift of all. And that is the gift of being able to share my spiritual knowledge, gifts, my channeling through spirit with you, my healing through you. Because before you, I just wandered wondering who I was to help. And now I know. So thank you, everyone. And have a beautiful, wonderful evening. I love you all. Goodbye.